Good day, everybody. I'm Dr. BLT, and I'm a clinical psychologist, university instructor, and a writer, and a rapid-fire songwriter of multiple genres, known best for writing 3-minute songs in the course of 2 minutes. But today, I'm going to take my time a little bit more and introduce you to part 2 of my latest installment, Great Impressions in Our Heads. And this is about those theorists and those events that have made great impressions in the history of cognitive psychology. In part 1, we started way back to 1885, and we made our way all the way up to 1960, when Elvis was king and the Beatles were on their way. So before we get started, I'm going to sing you the introductory original Dr. BLT song. This is a way that I engage you through cognitive priming involving original music. I'm about to introduce you to some major events in cognitive psychology. I tell you what they meant when they said the things they said. Though some of them are dead, like UFOs, they made great impressions in our head. I'm going to have to put down this guitar now because I have some information to share with you. Some really exciting information. Starting from 1967. I think this is when the Monkees were very popular and the Beatles were, of course, even much more popular. But this is when Ulrich Neisser actually coined the term cognitive psychology in his book of the same title. So this is big. You know, this is like the Beatles naming the British invasion. So that was in 1967. 1967 was a huge year for cognitive psychology because it's also when the application of cognitive psychology to the field of therapy made its entrance, thanks to Aaron Beck. Aaron Beck outlined cognitive behavior therapy in his book, Depression, Causes and Treatment. And of course, even today, cognitive behavior therapy is used a great deal, not only with depression, but other forms of mental illness. 1967. Let's get back into the time machine now and fast forward all the way to 1971. That's when Roger Shepard and Jacqueline Metzler published research showing that people are able to mentally rotate a 3D object. Wow, really? People are able to mentally rotate a 3D object. That's pretty profound. I'm not sure I'd be able to pull that off, but maybe you could. Moving forward, now we got from the age of soft rock, 1971, to the age of disco and the explosion of the Bee Gees and the release of Saturday Night Fever. We're talking 1978. I think that's also when Baby Come Back came along. Not Baby Got Back, that was much later. But in 1978, this is really an important one for me. Gordon H. Bauer came out with In Mood and Memory. And he reported experiments that suggested memory retrieval is mood dependent. So, as you know, for those who know Dr. BLT, you know I'm real big on the role of emotion in cognitive psychology. And I really encourage students to be more than intellectually engaged in the subject matter, but emotionally engaged. That's my second E of Dr. BLT's 3 E's of education. So moving from 1978 to 1979, we have Elizabeth Lufta's book, Eyewitness Testimony, which exposed the fallibility of eyewitness memory as evidence. That's huge. Do you realize the significance of that? She exposed the fallibility of eyewitness memory as evidence. Of course, people get accused of a lot of things, but ever since this time, they have not been able to use eyewitness memory exclusively because it will not seal up a case. So let's move on to, actually in the 80s, not much was going on in terms of cognitive psychology, but you did have Devo, and you did have the synthesizer entering into pop music, and you had the Thompson Twins, and you had, you know, Cyndi Lauper and Madonna, you had Billy Idol. Some great stuff was happening musically. You had even Thomas Dolby. She blinded me with science, which has profound significance and relevance to the field of cognitive psychology. However, notwithstanding Billy Idol and Thomas Dolby, the 80s really didn't impact cognitive psychology too much. So we moved to 1992, in which a book came out, Facial Expressions of Emotion, by Paul Ekman, and it suggested that certain facial expressions are universal and therefore biological. So this was strong evidence for a more Darwinian approach, also approached by William James, which was heavily dependent on Charles Darwin. So we're going to move now to 2001. In the 7 Sins of Memory, Daniel Schachter details ways our memories can be erroneous. So that's kind of building on what happened way back in 1979. This is Daniel Schachter. Ways our memories can be erroneous. I think I've had a few erroneous memories in my time. Now comes the part where you actually become engaged in these song talks. From 2001 until today, a lot has happened in terms of cognitive psychology, and especially in terms of uniting psychodynamic theory and cognitive theory. So I would like you to explore the significant events from 2001 to today and let me know what you came up with, okay? I'm Dr. BLT. Thank you for listening to my Song Talk series. Thank you for listening to my music. Have a wonderful day. Remember, music and sublimation will take you places where nothing else will take you.